Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. Today's video, got a couple of things to talk to you about. Venice, Italians only, European quarantine issues, Cayman Islands are back in the news again. Let's get into it. Thank you all of you for following this channel and my videos. I appreciate you subscribing to Traveling with Bruce, giving my videos thumbs ups, and visiting my Redbubble store. Every time you make an order on Redbubble with a TWB logoed item, I earn a royalty. Thank you. Also, Facebook followers, Instagram followers, thank you for following me and stay on top of the channel. And those of you who are becoming sponsor members, 33 cents a day, you can become a sponsor member of this channel. Hang out with me Monday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern, a live sponsor membership show, and you get to use our emojis, and we have special videos for you. Thank you for being sponsor members of TWB. Look at this beautiful picture of Venice. This city made the news in the last couple of years because of over-tourism. Things have changed. Back in 2019, this was not an uncommon sight on a daily basis at the cruise terminal, the cruise port terminal in Venice. 5 ships, 6, 8 ships a day coming in, dumping off 15, 20 plus thousand cruise passengers every day to just go everywhere in Venice and do some tours, of course. Mainly these folks were getting tours, but a lot of them would walk around the various areas, take canal boat rides. And the Venetians were, some of them anyway, were just saying enough's enough. This is getting ridiculous. These folks here come in for like 4 to 6 hours and they're gone. We don't like the fact that their giant ships are coming through our canals. And then with all the traffic with regard to the ferry traffic to get these people from point A to point B, turning up the waters, the Venetians just didn't want it anymore. And so a big push was on by environmentalists in the last, 2 or 3 years, right to the Prime Minister of Italy to basically say, look, ban these ships from our canals and the waters, and it's just getting ridiculous. Now here we are a year later in the middle of a pandemic, and Venice is hurting big time. Unemployment, 1,700 people who work full time haven't had to work now all year because of the shutdown. But the environmentalists are still happy. They're claiming victory because Costa Cruising and MSC Cruises, they have announced that they will not be sailing in and out of Venice this year. Well, not much of a victory because really these cruise lines are only just trying to start limited service in Italy and Europe, and they're really not going to bother coming to a city that where they know they're just not really welcome. For tourists, it's kind of a mixed blessing. If you're flying into Italy and then you're, say, flying into the Venice airport and spending a few days here, great. No cruise ships, fantastic. Quieter area, fewer lineups. Your business is appreciated more. But if you're a cruise ship passenger, you can't afford to fly into Europe and spend a week or two, but you can fly in and grab a cruise and economically see Europe, including Venice, for at least part of a day. Opportunity might be lost. We'll see what happens for 2021. Now, Costa Cruising. The Costa Cruise Line, owned by Carnival, they are basically an Italian-flagged cruise ship company. So their ships are all Italian flagged. And so if they want to start cruising, they need Italian government approval to do so, no matter where it is they go. And they've received approval from the Italian government to try to get 2 of their ships sailing. And the strategy for Costa is, what we're going to do is we're going to sail just to Italian ports with only Italian passengers. So the folks who get on the ship are Italian. We only go to Italian ports of call, and that should, keep the pandemic in place. That's kind of the hope. And they're going to give this a try with 2 of their ships, and we'll see how this works out. In the meantime, something else is happening in Europe that is started kind of slowly and now is speeding up and is becoming a bit of an issue. And that problem is, as we, by the way, zoom out of Monaco, this is Monte Carlo, Monaco, pretty nice little area if you can ever get over here. Monaco, France, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, Belgium, now the UK, they're all becoming a bit agitated with each other because the virus it seems to have caught a second wave in Western Europe. Now, when I'm talking to you about a place like this, these folks here have unlimited dollars with respect to how wealthy this community is. They can put in any kind of protocols they want. They've got the best doctors in the world here. They can afford the best. France has a national healthcare system, so does Britain, Germany, everyone else, and yet with all of the controls that they've had, they beat the virus down from spring this year all the way through the early summer, but now in the last couple of weeks, the number of cases of the virus showing up in France have hit the highest levels since May, and they're still climbing. And so Britain has announced, just in the last 24 hours, they've announced that they're making it mandatory that if you are traveling from France to the United Kingdom after 4 o'clock Saturday, which is I think in the next 12 hours, you must have a 14-day quarantine, mandatory quarantine. And it isn't one of these, politely asking you to go to a quarantine situation. No, this is a mandated quarantine supervised by the British government. And if you're a foreigner coming in, you're probably going to be taken to specific hotels that are going to be set up for this. And it's going to run you £1,300, which is about, I don't know, in Canada, that's like $2,000 for 2 weeks. That is expensive per person. This is causing a problem because there are 500,000 Brits, folks from the UK, in France right now. This is summer holiday time, and of course, a lot of Europeans who were hoping to travel to Asia this year or to North America, that's all off the table. So what are they doing? They're traveling within Europe, and the hope was that because the European numbers were improving so dramatically and that the virus counts were really falling off, the thinking was, okay, well, with a face mask and social distancing and prudent, traveling habits, hey, we can travel Europe. And Brits love to go to Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, and why not, of course, Germany and other countries. Well, France numbers, the numbers in France are surging. They had over 2,600 cases just yesterday in the country. And now France itself has called Paris a hot zone. Paris is basically one of the worst places you can go right now because your odds of catching the virus are higher than elsewhere. Well, because the Brits have announced that they're quarantining anyone coming from France into the UK, well, of course, politically, guess what? The French have to now put a quarantine on anyone from Britain coming into France. After all, for national pride and all that, forget common sense. Well, in the meantime, Norway has entered the fray. Now, I mentioned Norway because I think 2 weeks ago I did a video talking about how the Hurtigruten cruise ship line had people suffering from the virus after only a couple of weeks of sailing strictly Norwegian ports. Well, the country of Norway has just issued basically an edict that all the countries that were on the so-called green list with regards to having beaten down the virus, they're now all downgraded to the yellow list, and all of a sudden you're under a 14-day quarantine if you come to Norway from any of the European countries. So I mention all of this because there are cruise lines like MSC, now Costa, and others who want to start cruising again. The Greek government has opened up its ports. Come on over. Anybody wants to visit Greece with cruise ships, you're more than welcome to do it because the Greeks are dying for business. The Italian government has now opened up its ports to travelers and is definitely interested in Costa at least trying to sail Italians all over Italy. But the problem here is the rest of Europe and is running into this pandemic problem all over again because August is the month every year that kind of is a shutdown month. Most businesses in Europe, especially factories, most of their holiday time is scheduled through most of August. France in particular is famous where population from Paris and Marseille, the big cities, they bug out and they head for the Mediterranean coast or the Alps, the Pyrenees, to get away from the hot, muggy weather and go to where the water is or go up in elevation and cool down. Well, Europeans, guess what? They've been moving. They have been traveling like crazy, and now the virus case numbers are popping up all over the place, and the governments are realizing, oh my God, we've got a cap on it, but only if we keep the people at home, and now we've got to impose these sanctions. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see how many virus cases really pop up as this virus has had a wonderful opportunity to invade new hosts, and we'll see what happens. Now, in the meantime, while I'm talking about all that, you're seeing a couple of photos here from the Cayman Islands. I just did a video yesterday about the Cayman Islands. I've got more news. The government of the Cayman Islands announced this morning that they are banning cruise ships until 2021. They're not waiting for CLIA. They're not waiting for the CDC. They're not waiting for any kind of health authorities. They're basically out and out saying it. We're not allowing any cruise ships in here until January 2021, and even that is only a tentative date. And the simple reason is the virus is out of control in the United States. Simple as that. They're not saying it, but they're saying it. And they don't want Americans coming into their country by the boatload, dropping off thousands of potential hosts who don't even know they have the virus because they can't get the testing that they should be getting in the U.S., and the Caymans are just shutting it down. So this continues, folks. Cruising doesn't look good. More bad news. We'll stay on top of this unfortunate trend and see what happens. Thank you again for subscribing to the channel. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye for now.